Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. I apologize for it cutting out earlier, but, as I've explained in the past, that one particular area has terrible reception. So, again, I do apologize. But let's go ahead and pick up where we left off, discussing the different characteristics between arrows and bullets. Essentially, arrows are designed to give as much penetration as possible to cause as much bleeding as possible, because that's how they kill. They kill through hemorrhaging, blood loss, whereas a bullet delivers more so a traumatic shock to the body, both in the flesh, muscle tissues, in the organs, and the blood vessels. Basically, it just rips through things to do as much damage as possible to put the item down. And because of that shock impact that it delivers, it makes it to where when it comes in contact with soft tissue, it does all kinds of damage, obviously. But, as in the display video, or not display video, the video I mentioned in the last one, dirt, which, as most people who have handled firearms know, is one of the best bullet stoppers there is. Basically, the dirt, because of its structure, acts as a very hard and difficult barrier for the bullet to get past, whereas the arrow goes through it fairly easily. Now, again, it all depends on many different variables, but essentially, point being, bullets are made for shock impact to do their killing, along with blood loss, of course, whereas arrows are more so designed for deep penetration and heavy bleeding. Now, I know a bunch of the wise butts out there will say that this whole thing just sounds way too adult for what it is, but get your minds out of the gutter, people. I mean, if you really want to go on a tangent about talking about how wrong so many things by today's standards sound, just take a look at freaking muzzle-loading arms, going from both flintlocks or percussion caps. You have the ramrod, you have the worm. For flintlocks, you have the cock, which is what in percussion arms is the hammer. Thus, where the term going off half-cocked actually came from, because in order to have a flintlock fully loaded, you had to have it at half-cocked so you could open the frizzen, which holds the powder pan, which covers up the powder pan, I should say. And then, once you have that full up with powder, you close the frizzen, and then you have to leave the gun at half-cock. Thus, where the term actually came from. Then you pull it back to full cock, and then you pull the trigger, cock shoots forward, hits the frizzen, causes the sparks, causes the powder to go off, powder goes into the vent hole, lights off the charge. Going on to percussion arms, you then have the nipple, which is where you put the percussion cap onto. You have the nipple pick. You have the nipple wrench that you use to remove the nipple from the gun. Just so many different terms that are used for traditional weapons and such, by today's standards, are considered so out there. I mean, even take a look at the term ball bag that you would carry around your shot in, your round balls in, because it wasn't until around the Civil War time that the conical really started to change how firearms worked. Up until that point, people were still using round balls because it was the best type of ammunition that they not only had, but essentially knew of. Okay. So, this live stream I'm going to go ahead and keep it fairly short, simply because I was just trying to catch up and finish what I started in the last one. Which, if you are just coming in to see this one, please check out my previous live stream labeled as A Brief History Lesson, which is where I cover briefly the origin of Fanta Soda, as well as cover a specialized platoon that was sanctioned in the Vietnam War that was equipped with recurve bows. Now, again, they did have firearms, but predominantly they were equipped and specialized to be used. What? They were equipped with